What is going on, guys? I am Jack, and this is Long Gun Firewood. I hope everybody has been doing amazing. It's chilly today. I think it's 21 degrees right now. And I have to take a tote over to the house, exchange this full tote with an empty tote, come back over here, and then the handy dandy boiler bin, grab some chunks and junk and take this over to the house. This year I have figured out how to burn some bigger chunks in my stove. Last year I was having some issues with it bridging, and I think the problem was I didn't have a good enough coal bed. So you can burn anything in these downdraft gasification stoves so long as you have a good coal bed. But let's get this on the forks. We'll run over to the house, swap this stuff out, and come back over and load up another. Having access to my neighbor's tractor and his property and everything is really awesome. You know, having a supportive person like him, you know, so close in the neighborhood. You know, I often say, you know, take care of each other. We really do around here, and it's awesome. You know, I hope that everybody has the same, I don't know, respect for each other. I was gonna say luxury. But I hope everybody everywhere, wherever you live, you know, you guys all have the same heart and you take care of your neighbors. I mean, it's who you live next to. I don't know what I would do without this guy. One day it's gonna suck where I have to buy my own equipment and I can't split wood over at his house. But I think the stove, it just kicked on. What's at 174? What are we at? So it's at 100% burn efficiency within the reaction chamber. Somebody mentioned the other day, you know, what do you mean reaction chamber? It's a firebox. No, in these downdraft stoves, it is a reaction chamber. It's not a nuclear bomb or a nuclear reactor. But there's the emissions that you get with 100%. I don't know if you can kind of see the heat signature there coming off to the left because that's the way the wind's blowing. But that's all you get. I will go ahead and show you the reaction chamber here. And I wouldn't advise this, you know, at home to try this, but for video purposes, let's check this out. So I can force it by pressing this door button. And you can actually see how this works. And this is burning all the smoke and flame and fire. And you'll see it just start churning. That right there is what supercharges and heats your water, and this is what makes it smoke-free. It's got a little hot. I think I just singed my hair. But yeah, it's pretty cool how this whole gasification process works with these stoves. Yeah, you gotta have drier wood. Yeah, you gotta split it a little bit, but to have zero emissions, that's pretty cool. And I don't mean zero. There's still something coming out of this thing. Sorry for the sun, guys. I can't really help what God's given me. But I have neighbors, and these are good options when you have neighbors close by. I mean, the I think like the manufacturer's regulations are these things are supposed to be like 300 feet away from other dwellings. I mean, I'm about, what's this, maybe 60 or 70 feet away from my house, and I'm probably maybe 100 feet away from my neighbor's house to my right, maybe 200 feet away from my neighbor in the back there, and no smoke. So if you run these things as efficiently as you can, and you don't just sit there and want to burn unseasoned wood and smoke out the world, you know, you're gonna have a good experience with these, and your state's not gonna continue banning these. These outdoor wood stoves have a bad rep because they're known as the old smoke dragons, and people are inconsiderate of their neighbors. If you want these things to stay around, you start burning some drier wood. Let's go fill this other tote up. So I mentioned that I kind of figured out how to burn cookies in the boiler. And I think, you know, a lot of you last year were telling me I was out of my mind that I should be able to burn these in my stove, and you can. Like I said, you just got to have a better coal bed. So it's nice that I'm figuring that out. And it's nice that I can burn these big chunks, although I am not going to burn this. This is a piece of telephone poles. Yeah, all I smell is creosote with that one. We'll put that one over there. They can burn that in their wood stove in the garage. I'm not going to do it. But these are some chunky dead pieces. And we'll try to throw some of these big chunks in. I cut these a little bit bigger because they were punky. I do have a tote over here of a bunch of pine and cedar. I mean, here's a piece of red cedar here. I think it's not even red cedar. I think it's like a juniper. It smells so good. There were a couple pieces in one of the bins that I threw in this morning, and I smelled just a hint of cedar before I left to go to the scrapyard. I'm starting 2026 off right. Went through and my truck payment was all paid with scrap money. I had a bunch of scrap, a bunch of old copper, a bunch of aluminum, a bunch of metal, a bunch of stuff that I had just been randomly picking up that people were throwing away. You know, that's another thing you could do if you're considering, you know, any big purchases. You know, get yourself out of debt, number one. And number two, utilize any form of income that you can. You know, if you got a little side hustle, you know, I don't know, sewing hats or knitting hats, and you can make 20 bucks on a hat. That's 20 bucks you didn't have before, and it might be something that you enjoyed doing. I enjoy recycling. Right now, this is all recycling. All the wood in my yard is recycling. We don't cut trees down for heat. We get a hold of tree services, develop a relationship with them, and they bring us the wood that they don't take to the sawmill to become dimensional lumber, or they bring it to us so it doesn't become mulch. All of this would have just became mulch had we not said, hey, tree guys, do you guys have wood you can't take to the mill and, you know, you got to get rid of? Because they actually have to pay money to these mulching companies to dump off there. So oftentimes they'll dump for you for free. That's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I went to, did the scrapyard this morning, and I had a pretty good haul of some copper that, you know, whenever I get vacuum cleaners and all that, you know, I tear them apart to separate the electric motors from the wire and all that. You could even, you know, break it down even farther. All the little plugs, all the little connectors, 9 times out of 10, they're brass. I don't really separate much brass unless it's like big, pretty yellow brass or red brass. But you can if you want to sit there and break everything down. And it does take a while. You know, I've been saving this for probably 6 or 7 months. But, you know, my truck payment was $600. I think my scrap bill today was $560, so I had to come out of pocket $40 to pay for my truck this month. Pretty cool, ain't it? Lots of good feedback on the video that I put out last week too. You know, everybody very supportive. You know, thank you for all the support. Lots of people saying, you know, hey, you know, you found me because of the shorts and you've been following along ever since. You're considering purchasing one of my stoves. That's awesome. Tell Central Boiler that. Yeah, you know, it's cool how this community is, and cool how all of us can connect and talk to each other and, I don't know, discuss things. I did that short on the Go Fast wrapper up at Matt's. Man, everybody's hung up on how the back plate is free floating. So many comments. Oh man, that's a bad design. Bad design. Man, I think it's a pretty cool design. Go Fast does it. Eastonmade does it. There's like 2 other electric wrappers that do it, because that plate is actually mounted to the motor, to the spindle or axle that comes out of the motor. But Matt actually brought it to my attention that the way that back plate is mounted, because it moves a little bit when the wrap's going around it. That first round, it kind of moves it, it racks it just a little bit. It's still a square bundle, but it actually wraps it tighter than some of like my hand wrap. I noticed when I was sitting there giving the shake test on these wrapped bundles from the Go Fast wrapper, that they're really tight. It's a lot tighter than what I can get with my Amish made wrapper. And again, everybody's not gonna sit there and want to wrap wood. I get it. If you don't want to wrap wood, no problem. Those shorts aren't for you. But lots of people, lots and lots of people also complain that they're wrapped with plastic. Plastic, yeah, plastic sucks. I get it. It's not, you know, the most environmentally friendly option. But at the same time, there's not very many safe options out there on the market. And it comes down to a safety standpoint here. You got to have something that is going to wrap these bundles tight, fast, cost effective, and safely, because, you know, you're selling these to stores, and if somebody picks a bundle up and it just falls apart in front of their face and falls on their feet because they got flip-flops on at their campground, that campground's going to say, hey, you made bundles that were loose and they fell apart all over my customer's feet. They broke a toe. Now they're suing me. I'm suing you. So twine does make a nice bundle if you want to sit there and just make 5 bundles a week. If you're going to make a couple thousand bundles a month, get you some other way. That's another reason why I like bags. I think bags are just superior. But again, different strokes for different folks. The wrap is a lot cheaper. I think the bags cost you about, I think it's like 75 cents with a label to make a bag. And those wrapped bundles with a label, it's around, I think 11 cents, something like that. So 6 in one, half dozen in the other. Really, it's a pretty big difference, but it's pennies on the dollar, really. It's all in what you want to profit in the long run. Some of these chunks are massive. We're really going to be trying the stove. See if these big old chunkers work. Throw a couple of these little pieces in there. But yeah, not much going on in the wood yard today or around the house. I have to put a range hood on, you know, like the vent above your stove with the fan and the light and all that. I bought one of those over the Christmas break. It showed up the other day, so probably gonna put that on in an upcoming video. There's gonna be a lot of log cabin maintenance coming up here soon. I do have to stain the house, and I might media blast the whole house, and I might make my media blaster, or I might rent one. It all depends on what I can do cost effectively. We just talked about that. We'll see what happens though. Last time I stained the house, I used a palm sander, and my house is all ponderosa pine from British Columbia, Canada, and it was all hand hewed. Well, that palm sander took all the hand hewing out of it. So that's something I'm gonna try to do and not destroy. I mean, I still want to have a nice looking home, but it's long overdue for the staining of the house. Here's another piece of, what is this called? Why can't I think of it? Pole, telephone pole, another piece of telephone pole. Ugh, gross. And that would probably burn up just fine in my stove, and you probably wouldn't even smell it, but I don't even want to try. They can burn it over here in their stoves in the garage. I'm getting to some of the smaller pieces now. Some of these chunks I kept splitting and splitting, not thinking I was gonna burn this myself. I was gonna actually sell this stuff for $150 a dump trailer load. So some of this is chunky. I do have to go to Delaware here soon, where we did the Evo job. My buddy Dave's got all that hickory, all the hickory cookies and a couple hickory logs that we didn't run through the processor. He's giving them to me, so that'll probably be in an upcoming video, me riding up there and talking to him and showing his mess. He's got a mess up there, but he's got a tumbler coming. He's going to go through and process all that stuff. He also has a 2228. So he's gonna be running his 2228 through the tumbler, or, you know, up a conveyor through a tumbler into his piles. He's got a pretty good operation. He just wanted us to come up there and blast out the pile of logs that he had when they logged his property, he and his father's property. So we went up there. I made a couple videos running the Evo. And the Evo is awesome. That's the only processor I've really ever ran besides a Dyna. And that Dyna, I believe it was like the SC16 or something. I don't know, don't quote me. It was the one Heath and Rachel had. They brought it to Hoosier Firewood Hysteria. Oh, and by the way, Hoosier Firewood Hysteria. May 15th, 16th, and 17th, the Hoosier Firewood Hysteria. I will not make it this year, guys, but that is at the Greentown, Indiana, Vietnam Veterans Memorial Campground. It's in Howard County, Indiana. It's right outside of Kokomo. Normally this was put on by 765 guys, K&L Firewood, and a couple of other people out that way. This year it's getting hosted by someone else. And when I did my planning this year to go to all the firewood events that I plan on going to, they said they weren't doing it. So I had already planned to go to the Vermont show, which is a week before this show. I can't drive 13 hours out to Indiana and spend 3 days there and then come home for 2 days and then drive another 11 hours north to Vermont. It's just not feasible for me this year. Maybe next year we'll plan to go to Hoosier again, because it is a great time and it's for a good cause. Honestly, I thought they weren't going to do it this year because they had so much wood anyway. It's not going to hurt them to take off a year. The amount of wood we split last year for them in the monsoon that we had, I know they didn't burn through all that or sell all of it this year. They need all kinds of stuff. They need splitters, firewood, saws, dump trucks, dump trailers, tractors, skid steers, mini excavators, and people. This is a volunteer event that, you know, all benefits the veterans. That campground hosts one of the biggest parties for the Vietnam vets in the country. And I believe it's at the end of August or the end of September each year. I was actually invited this year and last year. But it's just, like I said, it's 13 hours away. And you know, sadly, the Vietnam vets, we're losing them every day. You know, that was a couple years ago. Our Vietnam vets are older guys and gals now, and they have opened the doors to other veterans of war. So it's, you know, it's going to just be an ongoing event throughout the times. That place isn't going anywhere. They have a good time just sitting back, reminiscing with each other, and everybody there feels like family. Like all the people that run the place and that I've met, the one guy, Easy, I think was his name. Man, what an easygoing fella. No wonder they'd call you Easy, my friend. Really good people, and it's great that there's places like this that support our vets. And I'm sad that I'm not going to make it this year. Like I said, it's just a schedule, a conflicting schedule for my personal life. Next year, we'll try to be there though. Because Will Wolcott messaged me as soon as he got the email. He said, Jack, I thought this wasn't happening. And I said, dude, I thought it wasn't either. But yeah, that's a good thing to put on your calendars if you're in the Greentown, Indiana area. All the hotels and eating and all that stuff is in Kokomo, Indiana, which is about 12 minutes away. So if you're looking for lodging and all that, you can check all that out. And if you guys need information on this, and I can just, you know, share something with you, you can message me at logcabinfirewood83@gmail.com. logcabinfirewood83@gmail.com. You know, I'll help. I'll at least share with you what I know about the event if you need information on it. I'm pretty sure TKP is going to be there. Lots of other YouTubers around that area. You know, a lot of the people that typically go. But yeah, it should be a good time. Hopefully it's a good turnout for him. Oh, another thing, Heath from Hardworking Man. He just got out of the hospital. You know, Heath, Rachel, and I have become great friends throughout the past 3 years, and they're good people. If you guys didn't know, he had some blood clots in his lung and his legs, and it just popped up out of nowhere. They really don't know at this time what happened. So if you could keep Heath in your prayers and thoughts and their family through this tough time, you know, send some prayers their way. Heath is a good man. He's a good family guy, good father, good husband. All right, well, I think I've bored you enough. This bin's almost full. I'm going to end this here. I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Thank you again so much for all your support, you know, following Log Cabin Firewood on all the platforms. We just hit 12,000 followers last night while I was sleeping on YouTube. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care of each other, and I will see you on the next one.